There you go. Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can also drink in the shot.
Yes, you can.
It's just coffee and
That's
whiskey.
fine.
It's no big
And
deal.
whiskey, yeah. Can I have some?
I wish.
Rachel, just state your name and affiliation, and we'll get started.
Rachel for the whole of Germany.
Rachel of Germany. Remember when life was so simple? It was like, I am Rachel of Sicily.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I am Rachel of Germany.
But, you know, at least it's Germany. I like it. So, Vivos, you are, I just saw on Instagram, you said, left vampires to get back to vampires, and you're married to a vampire. So,
It's crazy.
I know. How is it to be back with vampires?
You know, when you put it that way, I love this genre. The vampire genre to me is always, it's become a great piece of the fabric of my life at this point. But if you were to ask me, was I concerned about getting into another vampire show? No. This is a totally different take and understanding of what vampire is. This is a socially relevant, very grounded, you know, as Vampire Diaries was fantasy, sci-fi, very YA, but transcended the YA genre, demographic and spanned till way late adulthood. It was for everyone, right? But it was the version of vampires that kids could watch with their parents, right? Because at the time, Twilight was on film, and those weren't coming out but every year or so. True Blood was on the air on HBO. Kids couldn't watch True Blood with their parents. That would get really weird. Very quickly. And so Vampire Diaries filled this sort of parental loophole, this sort of place it perfectly fit. I think V-Wars is that new fit because it's so socially relevant, right? This was written in 2012. Vampire Diaries was written in the early 90s in the Valley in Los Angeles. Jonathan Mayberry, a best-selling author, put together this amazing set of books. Now listen, I have 5 books to mine from. As producers, we have a tremendous amount of information and story to mine from. Dozens of comics, not just for the visual reference, but story and character as well. This show is dealing with things we're really dealing with right now. The way that this disease spreads, because it's a disease, right? Because of rampant glacial deterioration, the ice is melting everywhere. The tundra permafrost is melting. Luther Swan, Dr. Luther Swan, who I play, is a star in the infectious disease world. He spent his life studying infectious disease in hopes of helping save humanity from anything bad, right? Well, the bacteria and the viruses, the pathogens that have been safely locked in ice for millennia, possibly millions of years, are now starting to come to the surface. That's not just in our story. That's out there. And it just so happens that, and I say this sort of like, yay, go sort of sad world with sort of a tear in my eye, but it just so happens that in the launch of this show, right as we're launching this show in 3 weeks, every day new articles are coming out from people in the scientific community stating exactly what we're talking about in this show. The things coming up out of that were once covered in ice are very scary and cause grave concern for the scientific community. And what it means to society is, and Luther Swan says this in the show, what's down there could possibly start a pandemic that makes the bubonic plague look like a chickenpox party. And these are things we don't want in society. We have enough problems. But that's where this comes from, right? So you have this social relevance of the fact that the climate is changing so rapidly, exposing all this stuff, changing our climates, our oceans, everything, our weather. Then you've also got these other elements that we're dealing with in society. Borders, racism, medicine, disease, fear, politics, the fear of politics, the politics of fear. All of these things that we're And these aren't just in our own echo chambers. This is happening around the world. Whether you're on Instagram or Facebook or not, you see it, you feel it. And these characters are unknowingly about to be ripped from their lives and catapulted into this world that is changing so rapidly. And listen, Lost did this in a way. Do you remember Lost? Recreating society, rebuilding society, and how does it work? What happens? For me, V-Wars is the great what if. What if this happened in your community? This is a disease like AIDS was. It is indiscriminate. It infects indiscriminately. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what sex you are, how old you are, where you're from, how much money you have. It doesn't matter. And that's what makes me feel like we get to set up this amazing world, you know? And it's grounded. These creatures are scary. They're dangerous. We went through a lot of time and energy and painstaking, like, time of our lives and resources creating this world, you know? So, and the fact that I get to sit here and talk to you, and apparently all of Germany, this means that we're in a place now where all the last 15 months of the hard work, taking time away from our families, our health, destroying our health, and being away from our family and kids, pays off because now we've delivered the show. We still have a lot of work to do in delivering a bunch of effects that we just drop in, but fortunately Netflix and IDW really allowed us to push and expand the time that we had to build the world.